Welcome to Horrors Yet Unseen, the podcast where we assign each other horror movies to watch and then talk about it so our spouses don't have to listen to us go on and on and on about scary stuff they don't like. I'm Zach.
And I'm Steve. Let's talk about some scary movies. By the way, there will absolutely be spoilers in this show. You have been warned. So this is the point where we come back to the podcast because through the magic of editing, we just talked for an hour about what Zach doesn't like. Yeah. And that was gonna. I wanted to. I'll go ahead and go first. I'll talk about the as far as the movies that we talked about what we watched this week.
Mm-hmm.
I was assigned Child's Play. The 2019 version specifically.
Yeah.
And let me pull up my notes on that real quick.
How'd you like it, Steve?
Well, I like you less for having me watch it. I'll put it that way.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. All right. That's exactly what I was going for. Yay.
So I've seen, I think Child's Play, like the original, like in 1988. I saw the first one and I think the second one. And I thought it's goofy. It's a doll, right?
Yep.
I'll get into some of the differences, but let me kind of give an overview of the movie for those who haven't seen the whole thing. So the Child's Play 2019, it's about the doll Chucky, but the doll looks very different, and it's a very different concept than the original 80s ones. The movie opens with a commercial of Buddy for Bud, Buddi, which is the creepiest doll in the history of dolls. Just looking at the thing.
Yep.
And I think anybody who buys that for their kids deserves whatever happens to them.
That's probably true.
But it's not just a doll. It's like a fancy Alexa that controls smart home stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an AI that learns all about the kid who it imprints upon. But then you cut to a toy manufacturing sweatshop in Vietnam, and where a guy making the dolls gets yelled at by his employer, and he gets mad and he removes the safeguards on one of the dolls, and then he commits suicide. Okay, I've got a lot of questions about that, but then it cuts to a generic store where Aubrey Plaza is working, and she gets a Buddy doll for her son because it's like the big thing for the Christmas season or whatever it was.
The new Cabbage Patch.
Right. And then while setting it up, he goes to name the doll, and it inexplicably names itself Chucky. We couldn't figure out why. Okay. And then the doll imprints on Andy. And then the stupid doll will not shut up singing the stupid My Buddy song.
Mm-hmm.
And it's clearly obsessed with making Andy's life happy. That's his job. To make Andy happy, to remove things that Andy doesn't like. And the setup of the film generally is overzealous AI doll with no safeguards, misunderstands everything in its attempt to make Andy happy, leading to death and destruction to all around him. He kills the cat because the cat scratched Andy, and then he sees people laughing at a horror movie, and he's like, oh, killing people with a knife and slicing their face off is funny. So
right.
He goes and does that.
Yeah, that must make Andy happy. Therefore,
right.
I'm going to go do that. Right.
And then he sees Andy's mom's boyfriend is a douche. And so he kills the guy and slices his face off and puts it on a cantaloupe.
Because why wouldn't you?
Because why wouldn't you? And there's this whole weird thing of he wraps it in wrapping paper. Andy does to get rid of it. And then it's weird with the neighbors and stuff. Anyway, they try to throw Andy in, the doll in the trash. The creepy janitor gets it, brings it back to life. Things happen. It ends up going to the retail store when Buddy 2 is coming out, and Chucky kills lots of people, and he can control things with his ET glowing finger that are made by the company that Caslin or whatever it was. And so he's like flying drones around with razors on their propellers and trying to like slicing people up at the store. Anyway, they end up disassembling Chucky, beating the crap out of him and destroying him. So I will say that there are a lot of really good aspects to of a horror movie in this movie. I did not enjoy it, but it's a better horror movie than the original.
Okay.
Maybe that's just because of the time. 80s movies have a vibe to them. Movies made more now have a different kind of vibe. So, better special effects and better, more interesting things happen with Chucky. There's a lot of really good things about it. But the thing that hung me up was not the plastic bag in this one.
Okay.
The thing that hung me up was that Chucky is an AI instead of being possessed.
Mm-hmm.
So in the original one, the doll was literally possessed by the soul of a serial killer.
Yeah.
Via dark magic, right?
Yep.
And he had a goal. His goal was to get more human-like to find like a body to get into. And the doll became more human-like as things go on, and that's like his goal through the movies, more or less, from what I understand. Anyway, new Chucky, he's an AI gone berserk. He's like a walking, talking Alexa, and he's just a machine that's gone crazy. And you turn him off, and he's off. It's like done.
Right.
So I guess part of it is that I'm seeing so many. Maybe it's the fact that there's so much discussion about AI these days,
Mm-hmm.
and the fear of AI, and the movie to me the first one was, and this one as well, have lots of aspects of anti-consumerism, like consumerism gone wild. Your things you're going to buy are maybe going to destroy you, etc. But this one kind of coupled in a fear of AI in with it. I'm kind of getting tired of that trope already, even though this movie was 5 years ago, before the whole AI explosions happened just recently. So I can give it a pass a little bit for that, but I don't know. I guess I just found Chucky less frightening when he was voiced by Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. Well, they took away his motivation, right?
Took away his motivation.
I think to your point, like his motivation was the motivation of the serial killer.
Right.
I'm doing this, like his soul imprints or gets transferred to the Chucky doll, and then his goal is to keep living.
Right.
So the reason he's killing is because he's a serial killer.
Right.
He's completely aware, he's completely conscious, and people are trying to either stop him or whatever the case is. Like he's trying to find a suitable candidate to transfer his soul back into, perform this ritual, which leads you to the child.
Right.
He's gonna, perform the little seance and bada bing, bada boom. And then I think in the second one, if I remember correctly, like the time passes and Chucky starts bleeding, which means that his soul is now fully joined with the doll. I've not seen Chucky 3. I'm going to watch it because my goal is to because those are ridiculous movies.
Yeah.
And they're just
kind of fun, ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm going to go through, I'm slowly going through the Child's Play series. But yeah.
And the TV show, by the way, is pretty good.
The TV show is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
If there was ever going to be a quote unquote 80s, I don't know. I don't want to say serial killer, but like if it was down to like Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, Chucky, like those types of, if any one of them was going to be a TV show, Chucky would have made a great TV show. And especially to grab Sci-Fi as the network and producer of the franchise. as the TV show. I think they're knocking it out of the park because it's really kitschy. It's really campy. It's really over the top and
Right.
ludicrous, which is exactly what sci-fi is known for in all of their productions. So, but I think you're right. Going back to the 2019 movie, like you turned off, there is no more motivation. It's just anti-AI propaganda at this point, and yeah.
Well, and I was watching some things about it, and like the goal was to like bring it to the current times,
Right.
which for some reason I guess they thought that meant you had to be technology based, but he no longer has a soul in the doll, so he's kind of lost the soul of the movie,
Right.
And I also realized that the Don Mancini is the writer of all of the Chucky movies. Literally all of them, even the stupid sound like Bride of Chucky and stuff.
Yeah.
He wrote all of them. Except for this one. He didn't have anything to do with this one. And it's like totally different.
Yeah.
And so I feel like this movie would have been better if they had named it like Megan.
Right.
Something.
I was just about to ask you what the difference, because you were describing this movie and all I could hear is he describing M3gan? Like, is he, because that's, and I wanted to ask you, what in your opinion is the difference between those two movies?
It's been a while since I've seen Megan, or M3gan, as you say, but it seemed like, I don't know, maybe there's not a lot of difference,
Well, okay, so you said that that the Buddy doll, the purpose of the Buddy doll is to imprint on a child, and then the AI is going to learn what that child likes to make that child's life happier, more joyful.
Which was what Megan was about, yeah.
Megan, right? Yep. Chucky then goes and misinterprets some events in the child's life as the kid must like this, so therefore I'll do it. That goes horribly wrong. So in Megan, her goal is to keep, I forget what the girl's name is.
So do I.
Grumpy Cat is what I'll call her. Because that's what she is. She's Grumpy Cat in the entire Megan movie. Just she had one facial expression the entire movie. You can't tell me different. And so, yeah. So yeah, I mean that's the point. Regardless of what I was trying to say, like that's the point. They're basically the exact same movie.
They really are. They're very similar.
I don't know that did Child's Play leave off with I forget. Did Child's Play leave off with a cliffhanger like there could be more, like Megan did? Because Megan basically uploaded her consciousness into other things, right?
Yep.
So they defeated the actual physical body of Megan, but she uploaded herself into other technological things, like the internet. So it's basically Age of Ultron.
Yeah. Yes,
I don't think they did that in Child's Play.
I felt like I liked Megan more than this one. Just maybe it was the way it was done, or the doll seemed to have gained sentience faster or something. And it got evil quicker. I don't know what it was. I'm not sure. And like I said, it's been a while since I've seen it, but so overall, the movie was a good movie, but it's not a good Child's Play movie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, at this point, besides the TV show, is there such thing as a good Child's Play movie?
It's all relative.
Because I
will say that the doll is stupid looking. It's just stupid looking.
Yeah.
Well, original Chucky looks like a doll, right? Looks like a doll that, it's a little creepy, but this one, like the faces it makes, it's like, just disturbing. And I know that's what they're going for, but it's the believability was lost. I was lost on the believability of that doll for one.
Yeah. It was your black trash bag.
It was a black trash bag. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, every movie is probably going to have a little bit of black trash bag in it. If you don't know what we're talking about, well, you'll find out soon. So,
So, 2.5 stars on this one for me.
2.5. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. 2.5.
Why did you want me to watch this one? I'm curious.
That's a good question. So it's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
And outside of it's ridiculous.
It's not like your favorite movie, is it?
No, I thought it was interesting that they would quote unquote remake Child's Play.
Yeah.
Because the concept of Chucky has always seemed pretty dumb to me. If you get killed in this movie by Chucky, I think that Darwin was right. And the more people die from a doll that they can kick halfway across the room and then just run away.
Right.
I go, you weren't firing on all cylinders up top to begin with, okay? And again, I get this is a movie, so people gotta die. It's a horror movie, people gotta die.
Well, at least in this one, like Chucky could control some technology. He drove that car around with his finger,
right,
and killed the lady in the car.
Yeah, but like I'm not saying that those drones are good parts of like it. So I was very surprised that they were gonna remake a movie like this. Then they went the AI route, which, I mean, I'm not necessarily. I understand that there is this anti-AI propaganda kind of in movies, I mean, the entire premise of the latest Mission Impossible movie is that AI is bad and going to ruin absolutely everything, and we need Scientology to stop it. And so, so now I'm not saying that the movie was bad. I loved the latest Mission Impossible movie.
Okay.
But I'm also very curious as to why they are not doing a part 2. What is the second half of this movie going to be called? Because they stopped, and it might have just been production stuff is going on, but
yeah,
I also think there might be a deeper meaning, a deeper reason.
Money.
It might be money, or it might be the fact that it hit too close to home, and they're like, "Hey, stop! Please don't do this." Like, we're trying to get something done here with ChatGPT and Google and whatever, so please knock it off. Having said that, James Cameron's been doing this since like the freaking 80s. Like, the whole premise of Terminator is that Skynet is bad. The AI that we've created is going to realize that humans are complete trash, and it's going to launch a war against us because we are bad. And because we start all the wars and blah, 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 all the stuff. And then Skynet launches, this nuclear holocaust.
Yeah, it's not a new idea.
It's not a new idea.
That's why I did say I kind of give it a pass for that, because it wasn't made in 2019 wasn't the time of like the current sort of worry, panic that we have about AI right now in 2024. So I understand I'm colored by that a little bit, but
yeah. Well, they're gonna pull from the current zeitgeist, right? Like, they're gonna pull from that, and it was still very early on AI at that point, and so because of the progression of AI here in 2024, Megan hits a whole lot closer than maybe Child's Play does. Again, Mission Impossible hits a whole lot closer than Child's Play does. But for what it was, I thought it was a fine movie. It wasn't anything to write home about, but I was like, let's put it on the list. He's not seen it. I have. And so that's my answer. My answer is like, you had not seen the movie. I have seen the movie. And I was like, I'm going to make Steve watch this movie because that's the premise of the podcast. Because it's not that bad. It's not the worst movie.
No, it's not. It's not. No. I did not turn it off. And
it's not a smoking hot turd, but it's,
it's not the best thing you've ever seen.
It's not the best thing. Yeah.
All right, and what I assigned you to watch Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
One of the best movies I've ever seen in my whole life. Yes, this
Absolutely.
is one of the best movies I've ever seen. Okay? We're just going to jump the gun and let you know now.
I am glad that you liked it.
5 stars. 5
100%.
out of 5. This is an A+ slam dunk of a movie. Okay?
Absolutely.
And that is not sarcasm. This movie is great from the beginning. So it's nonstop stupidity, but it's the kind of stupidity that I want to revisit over and over and over again. Like, it's a fine line. There's a fine line between the stupidity of Child's Play and the stupidity in Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Okay?
Yep.
One of these movies got it right, and the other movie is Child's Play. So if we're going for ridiculousness, both movies are ridiculous, but Tucker and Dale it freaking struck gold is what it did. It struck gold. Okay, so anyway, the synopsis of this movie. I'm not going to go on like forever or crazy with breaking everything down, because I want you to go watch this movie.
Yes.
Brief synopsis. The movie basically follows 2 groups of people. So there are the dumb college kids, and then there are Tucker and Dale. So the college kids are, the dumb college kids are going they're going camping because they are college kids and they are in a horror movie, and that's what you do if you are in college and you find yourself in a horror movie, is that you go camping. Okay.
Right.
I don't necessarily know if there ever was a full reason explained in the movie why they were going camping, other than, hey, he suggested we should go camping, so we all didn't think about it and just said yes. 'Cause we're dumb college kids. And so, and Tucker and Dale, they are going into the woods because Tucker sank all of his money into buying a quote-unquote vacation home, which was a janky cabin in the woods. And I love the fact that they called it's a part of the stupidity. I love the fact that they called it a vacation home.
Yeah. Because
I'm like, of course these complete hillbillies would say that this is their vacation home. That's ridiculous. I loved it. Yeah. So they're heading up to the cabin because they want to do some renovations on it. Apparently, Tucker just bought it. This is like the first time he's showing it to Dale. And I think this might be like the first time that Tucker actually sees it.
I think it's the first time he's seen it too.
Like, it's beautiful. Like, it's so stupid. Man, this movie is great. So Tucker buys a vacation home, and they run into the college kids at I'm gonna call it a gas station, but it is your quintessential horror movie gas station that also serves food that nobody would ever think is not. It's definitely past the expiration date. Like, I mean, they're selling jars of pickled eggs. So, like, what is this? What is this gas station that they're at? That's not a gas station. I don't even know what it is. Anyway, it's a horror movie convenience store is what it is.
It is. I mean, if you look at like the cabin, it looks exactly like the cabin in the Evil Dead movies.
Yeah.
And others. Or like the cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
Right? And then the convenience store is like every convenience store in every horror movie. And I love how they start out with like things that are so blatantly tropes stolen from elsewhere.
100%. That's one of the best parts of the movie is like they're going to go, hey, what? They started the pitch meeting with, what are horror movie tropes? And let's just toxic college kid masculinity and hillbillies. Boom. Let's go. So, okay. One night, because the dumb college kids are dumb, and they see a pond, which, just a PSA here, if you're going camping, okay? I've been camping. Okay? Been camping. If you see a stale body of water, like a non-moving body of water, and you go, I want to put my naked and exposed body in this stale, non-moving body of water, because, ooh, look, there's a tire swing. You're going to get Giardia, okay? That's how it's going to happen.
Or leeches.
You're going to, exactly. Nothing good is going to come from this. But again, dumb college kids, they go, hey, let's go skinny dipping. Because why not add another trope to the list?
Right.
So Allison, who is the final girl of the movie, she climbs up on this rock. She's going to go jump off the rock, whatever. Tucker and Dale are fishing, because of course they are, and doing a little night fishing. And they see some college girl. They're like, oh, I think Tucker's like, Dale, pay attention. And Dale's super nervous basically the entire movie. Not really sure, not really confident of himself. And Tucker is just the complete opposite of that. So Allison, they startle Allison because, again, she's not expecting that a bunch of hillbillies are watching her about to jump off this rock. She falls, hits her head. This is a major plot point through the movie, is that Allison is constantly falling, hitting her head, which only added to the ridiculousness of this movie. Culminating in the end when Dale gives her a pink bicycle helmet and is like, you should just wear this all the time. Right. I loved that. I thought that was great. They even mention it, like, I think at one point Tucker tells Dale, like, she needs you because she's falling down all the time, hitting her head.
Yeah.
And so, that's ridiculous. So she falls, hits her head. They take her back to the cabin to recuperate. And her friends, the dumb college kids, are like, these hillbillies they took Allison because they're going to do some deliverance kind of crap to her. And so we got to go stop her. One of the great things about this movie is that a central plot through the movie, or maybe it's not central, but is that we judge books by their cover.
Absolutely.
So the amount of miscommunication that is happening between the different perspectives that, like, the college kids are going on, reading into what Tucker and Dale, or who Tucker and Dale are, who they think they are, and then who Tucker and Dale think the dumb college kids are, like, is a
lots
great
of preconceived notions.
It's a great dynamic.
Yep.
And a lot of hijinks happen because of that. Because Tucker and Dale are just these innocent dudes who were just there to work at the cabin. And they just so happen to bump into these dumb college kids, and they just so happen to startle one of them. She hits her head, and they feel, oh, let's take care of her. Everything's okay. But the college kids are like, no, they're going to go do nefarious things with Allison. Yada, yada, yada. A lot of stuff happens. Tucker is out at the wood chipper because it's a horror movie and we're in the woods, and why wouldn't there be a wood chipper? Okay. And he's doing his thing. He's just out there cleaning up the yard. And one of the dumb college kids is like, oh, we're going to go kill Tucker because he stole Allison, has kidnapped Allison. And Tucker just so happens to move out of the way right as he jumps head first towards Tucker with a knife or whatever. And immediately Tucker moves out of the way. I think he's completely oblivious.
He bends over to pick
on.
Something up. Yeah,
exactly. And the guy dives right into the wood chipper, and Tucker's like, oh my gosh. And then he tries to pull him out. He's like, oh no, let me help you. No, the dude's dead, Tucker. The dude's dead. Like, He was dead instantaneously.
It's great. He turns it off. He tries to pull him out, and he turns it off, and he goes, "You okay?"
Right. That's the ridiculousness that I'm talking about. And they're dragging his lower half. And they're like, man, he's still really heavy. Like, he's really heavy for a pair of legs. And I'm like, what? That's such a stupid line, but I loved it. So yeah, the reason everybody dies, the people who die in this movie die because of complete and total accidents. No one, I don't think anybody actually kills anybody besides maybe Dale kills the toxic masculinity bad guy in the end, like one of the college kids in the end, because he revealed that they sit down. By the way, okay, hold on, I'm all over the place. They sit down because Allison wants to mediate between Tucker and Dale and these college kids.
Because she's taking like psychology courses.
And everyone gets way too excited about tea. They're like, oh, you're gonna make some tea? Oh, I would love some tea. That
Earl
sounds
Grey is my favorite.
Like Earl, exactly. Don't give me oolong or chamomile or whatever it is because it affects my asthma. And I'm like, we're having a whole dialogue about tea in the middle of this horror movie. This is ridiculous.
Yep.
And so yeah, again, Dale kills the antagonist of the movie, the big bad college kid, by giving him tea, which affects his asthma.
He doesn't kill him.
That's right. They didn't discover the body. Okay.
Well,
so
go all the way back to the beginning of the movie.
Right.
There's like a black and white section at the beginning of the movie. This reporter's like, let's find out what happened in here.
And it's the college kid.
The bad guy like come to the cabin at night, so he's not dead.
Right. Yeah. Now that does not mean that we need a second Tucker and Dale movie. Let's just let this alone. Leave it alone.
Yeah, they actually, I read that they wrote one, but it wasn't good enough. They didn't feel like it would be better or as good as the first one. So they're like, nah.
Right.
They decided not to do it.
Right.
As much as I want another one just like it.
Exactly.
You can't improve on perfection sometimes, right?
You can't. You caught lightning in a bottle, so just be done.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dale gets the girl in the end. Tucker has a female finger sutured back to his hand because he gets his fingers cut off, and apparently there's more than one person who got fingers cut off because everybody dies, and they literally suture, and he's like, does this look weird to you? And Dale notices that it's a female finger, and he's like, nah, man, you're great. Whatever. It's so stupid. This movie is so dumb. I really do want everybody to watch it. If you're listening, so I want people to watch it because it's completely ludicrous.
It's one of those things that you cannot watch this movie and not laugh at people dying, which is it's a bizarre thing.
Yeah.
Everybody who dies, they're stupid and they weren't paying attention, or usually that.
Yeah, I think the first college kid who dies, like they're scoping out Tucker and Dale. Dale is in with Allison in the cabin.
Right.
He's taking care of her, and Tucker is like, "We're here to work. What are you doing?" Like it's
my vacation house.
Exactly. But so Dale is taking care of Allison. Tucker is out like with a chainsaw, cutting up lumber, cutting up fallen trees and whatnot. He cuts into a beehive.
Right.
Bees are everywhere. So he then starts running through the woods. And one of the college kids thinks he's chasing him with the chainsaw.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's just running from bees, which, by the way, you can't see. Like, so from the college kid's perspective, he's just chasing me. But from Dale's perspective, or Tucker's perspective, he's being chased by bees. So at one point,
and he has this chainsaw on.
And he's just wielding it like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like he's just going through, running like a crazy person through the woods. And at one point, he basically catches up to the college kid and passes him.
Yeah, they look at each other.
And the college kid looks back like, So he really wasn't chasing me, but by that time, he doesn't realize he's still running and impales himself on a stick in the woods. And like, that's how he dies. So everyone who dies is not really killed by somebody else. They die by their own foible. And
Right.
that's
it's
it.
one of those classic, like the comedy is mostly from the misunderstandings.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And kind of its own slapstick style of a thing.
It's a great movie. 5 out of 5. This is a great movie. Definitely not a smoking hot turd. I would don't let it, this is not an Evil Dead-esque movie. At first I kind of thought that it would be like an Ash versus the Evil Dead kind of esque kind of thing. Because I'm still trying to figure out what the heck the evil is. Like, what is so the one of the twists of the movie is the main antagonist finds out that he is half hillbilly.
That's one of the best lines in the whole movie. He's like, "You're half hillbilly."
Yeah, you're half hillbilly.
That's like a race or something.
Yeah, he thinks that his parents were these like college kids who were perfectly fine, blah blah blah, whatever, and they were killed in the exact same woods that they're in
And
by
there was like
hillbillies.
Yeah.
And my dad didn't survive, but my mom did, and my mom was institutionalized, and I was raised by my grandma, and like all of this comes out at the end of the movie, and then it turns out that when they finally I think Allison and Dale are hiding, and because the college kid he's mentally snapped, he's gone way off the deep end, and is fully committed to thinking that Tucker and Dale are these evil hillbillies because he thinks his parents were killed by hillbillies, and then it turns out that, well, his mom, had him by one of the hillbillies, I guess. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I don't know how that happened exactly.
He was half hillbilly, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. Right. He's like, I was not half hillbilly. Like, he's so upset about it.
His dad turns out to be like this serial killer hillbilly.
Yeah,
and there's like a really throwaway like a line. I think it's back at the beginning, or maybe it's what the reporter says. Maybe at the end of the movie. She says this is on the anniversary of the hillbilly slaughter back in multiple years ago.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so maybe I wonder if they went camping because the toxic masculine kid who's half hillbilly, it was the anniversary of his parents dying or whatever. I don't know.
That's probably the reason why, because it was his idea that they go camping.
Right.
It was his idea that they go camping. None of the other brainless, dummy college kids were thinking about it. They were like, oh yeah, let's go camping. But yeah, Tucker and Dale get pulled over by the police. And I think Tucker drops something in his lap. I forget what it is. He drops something and Dale goes to get it. And Dale has like a shirt unbuttoned and it looks like Dale's. Like, it's so funny. And Tucker's like, get your head out of there. Like, it's so stupid. From the beginning of this movie. Yeah, I loved it. I loved every bit of this movie. 5 stars.
I've seen it like 8 times.
Maybe. I need to rewatch it again. Yeah, it's definitely a movie that I could see myself, like, this is a permanent fixture in like October. Yep. I could just
100%.
I'm just going to watch it every October because this is, or just on a random Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like, throughout
when you're
my
feeling
life.
Down.
Exactly. Because this movie is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's great. Let's go through movies for next time.
Okay.
So after your list of genres you don't like, it's the ones that are artsy. So I'm trying to decide if I want to give you so I tend to like super artsy horror movies.
Yep.
So
I don't necessarily mind. Okay, so like I've seen Midsommar.
Mm-hmm.
You might say that that's a pretty artsy kind of movie.
Yeah.
Okay. My problem with Midsommar was not the movie itself. My
Oh.
problem is that afterwards, people were like, "Oh yeah, if you watch the director's cut, you'll see some anti-Nazi stuff, or like the movie all along was supposed to be this particular thing." And I'm like, if I didn't pick it up the first time I watched it, that crap ain't in there.
Yeah, I actually looked into that more after we talked, and
Yeah.
Ari Aster never says anything about that.
Yeah, so that's
It's
my
one of
point.
those things that people are like, "Oh, Ari Aster's like, it's a breakup movie."
Yeah. There is nothing necessarily inherently wrong with the movie Mother.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
it's the stuff that comes out afterwards that people superimpose maybe on the movie that I'm like,
okay, yeah.
Okay, that's because there's nothing
If it's not
wrong with Beau is
self-contained-
Afraid. I shouldn't say
Right.
there's nothing wrong with Beau is Afraid. Everything about that movie was freaking ridiculous, including but not limited to the giant penis in the end, who apparently was his father. What the heck was that movie? Okay,
That's a fever dream. That movie's a fever dream.
The whole middle or like he reaches a colony of play actors,
Yeah,
in the woods,
yeah,
and you're like, what?
There's a theater in the woods.
Why are all these theater majors in the woods somewhere?
Do you guys not have theaters in the woods?
Don't gaslight me into like.
Okay. So those, I get what you're saying. It's like it needs to be a self-contained thing that has a meaning and a story without having to research it afterwards.
Yeah, I just don't want somebody else's like. The artsy movie is fine. That's why it was low on the list. Like it's I could be swayed to watch another one. It's not necessarily bad, but if things come out afterwards, like Mother is the example of Mother is
it's a pretty extreme example.
The whole point of this movie is to show you the harsh realities of motherhood, and I'm like, no, it wasn't. I didn't pick up on any of that.
Yeah.
And also, I have an astute perception, okay? I'm flawless when it comes to perception, okay? So if anybody's in the comments like, well, Zach, you just don't like blah, blah, blah. You know what? You're right, but also you're wrong. So be quiet. It's my podcast. Leave me alone.
Okay. I'm going to give you The Witch.
The Witch. Oh, dang. Okay.
It's like looks like the Vavitch.
Yes, it's the Vavitch. Okay. But for censoring purposes, we won't say that again.
The Witch?
No, the Vavitch.
But that's The Witch is what is that? When is that from? The Witch from 2015 with Anya Taylor-Joy, etc. Yeah. I want you to watch that one. It's a. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything more about it. Can I read the synopsis on Letterboxd?
Of course you can.
Yeah. It says evil takes many forms. In 1630s New England, William and Catherine lead a devout Christian life with 5 children, homesteading on the edge of an impassable wilderness, exiled from their settlement when William defies the local church. When their newborn son vanishes and crops mysteriously fail, the family turns on one another.
All right. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong with a movie called The Vitch?
Don't say that.
Sorry.
Okay. What about you?
All right. I have a private list that no one can see on Letterboxd that is called Steve. These are all the crossover movies that I've seen, but you haven't. And I'm just literally going to pick one out randomly.
Okay.
Because what could go wrong again with that? All right. I want you to watch There's Something Wrong with the Children.
I've seen. I haven't seen that. Obviously, I haven't seen it, but seeing like the title cracks me up for some reason.
Yep.
I know it doesn't look like it's a goofy movie, but just like there's something wrong with the children. Well, of course there is.
Yes.
They're children.
Yep. So 2023, this movie came out recently. 2023. Let's go synopsis here. Letterboxd. Margaret and Ben take a weekend trip with longtime friends Ellie and Thomas and their 2 young children. Eventually, Ben begins to suspect something supernatural is occurring when the kids behave strangely after disappearing into the woods overnight.
Okay.
Yes, I have feelings about this movie. I think we might just have a segment, especially after today's recording. We might just have a segment called Zach's Strong Feelings, where just we have to release maybe a disclaimer. You know, like how ABC Family always released the disclaimer whenever the 700 Club would come on and be like, the views of the 700 Club don't reflect the ABC Family, blah, 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 whatever. But they give us money, so we're going to air their program. And so, I think we might just have a Zach's Strong Feelings corner. Because, I got some feelings about this particular movie, and I want to know if you also have the same feelings.
Gotcha. Okay.
So there's the reason why I'm picking this movie for you. Is I have a certain opinion about this movie. And I'm not going to reveal it, good or bad. I'm just going to say that I have a feeling about this movie.
Well, I look forward to watching it.
Yes, and, it should be fun,
and seeing how my opinion aligns with yours.
Spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen, it probably won't. Steve will have a vastly different opinion other than mine. Like if my opinion's like, oh, I really hated this movie, it was trash too, but I'd be like, yeah, it wasn't that bad. Which is why I'm giving it to Steve. Like I'm want to know.
Well, I think one of the good things about one of the things I'm already enjoying about this podcast is I think you have different tastes than I have, obviously, because we're not the same person. I don't know if you noticed that, but
yeah.
The fact that I like stretching each other for like I want to push you and pull you in places you may not want to go, or like think you would like to go, or not go, but just expose you to things that you wouldn't maybe do by yourself. So
that's one of the things that I also like about this is the fact that like you're gonna assign me movies that I probably wouldn't naturally watch on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Like for whatever reason, I didn't watch or hadn't watched Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I don't know.
I knew you would absolutely love that one.
I didn't know what it was. I was actually thinking about this. Like, it's not. I didn't really have any strong opinions either way. Like, I knew that the movie existed. I might eventually get to it if I get bored or whatever the case is, but I just didn't. And then you were like, hey, you're going to watch this movie. And I did, and I loved it. And so, you might feel the exact same. You might not have ever thought about, or you might have felt the exact same way about there's something wrong with the children. Eventually you'll get to it, but it's not like a top priority kind of thing. And, you may like Child's Play. You may hate me more because I made you watch this movie. Or you may go, Zach, fantastic. This is great. And The Witch is a great example of this, is that I more than likely would not have watched this just because I probably had preconceived notions about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I will be forced to do it and, hide behind a pillow the entire time because I'm a scaredy cat. And so, great.
Looking forward to those. And, yeah.
Yeah. Also, check us out on Letterboxd. Check us out on Instagram. We now have those set up.
Right.
And, don't forget to smash that subscribe button.
Yeah. And also the you set up a link tree for us.
I did. I said that's in the bio of the Instagram, and so
It's like a link tree / horrors yet unseen. It's really hard to remember that.
Right.
Linkter.ee.
Right. It's such a weird thing. Just you can click on it. All of the links basically are there as far as
where to listen.
Everywhere you can find our podcast. And then our 2 letterboxes are there. I'm still trying to figure out what the heck to do with the Instagram account. So, Steve, you've assigned me that. That's my responsibility. So right now it's basically like my only idea is when we post a podcast, like when a new one is available, I'll post. But I'm like, I feel like I should post a little bit more to get a little bit more traction going. Yeah. So I should sit down and try to figure out, Also, if you have any suggestions, listeners, if you have any suggestions about what you'd like to hear in the podcast or see on our Instagram, let me know or let us know,
Cool.
I don't know if they can email us. I don't know if we wanted to ever open up emailed suggestions because I fear that might be a Pandora's box we can't close because, people are a little odd.
I think we should. Because like the Spotify thing you can send in voice. Sorry, you can send in audio comments. You can leave comments on the thing in Spotify, or I think let's go ahead and we'll have people, if you want to email us, it's horrorsyetonunseen@gmail.com.
Yep. And let's just open that floodgate.
Yeah.
If you have any suggestions, great. Or you wanna talk about something, maybe we can add a segment to the podcast about listener comments.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we want to hear from you guys.
And watch the next movie so you can talk about them with us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, watch The Vavitch, and also There's Something Wrong with the Children.
Cool.
Okay, buddy.
I'll talk to you later.
All right, man.